Elmore James was an American blues guitarist, singer, songwriter and band leader. He was known as King of the Slide Guitar, but he was also noted for his use of loud amplification and his stirring voice. Biography: James was born Elmore Brooks in Richland, Holmes County, Mississippi, the illegitimate son of 15-year-old Leola Brooks, a field hand. His father was probably Joe Willie Frost James, who moved in with Leola, and so Elmore took this as his name. Elmore began making music at the age of 12 using a simple one-string instrument strung up on a shack wall. As a teen he was playing at local dances under the names Clan Head and Joe Willie James. His first marriage, c. 1942, was to Minnie May. He subsequently married at least twice more. James was strongly influenced by Robert Johnson, as well as by Kokomo Arnold and Tampa Red. James recorded several of Tampa's songs, and even inherited from his band two of his famous broom dusters, Little Johnny Jones and Oddie Payne. There is a dispute as to whether Robert Johnson or James wrote James' trademark song, Dust My Broom. During World War II, James joined the United States Navy, was promoted to coxswain and took part in the invasion of Guam. Upon his discharge, James returned to central Mississippi and settled in the town of Canton with his adopted brother Robert Holston. Working in Robert's electrical shop, he devised his unique electric sound, using parts from the shop and an unusual placement of two diamond pickups. Around this time James learned that he had a serious heart condition. He began recording with Trumpet Records in nearby Jackson in January 1951, first as sideman to the second Sonny Boy Williamson and also to their mutual friend Willie Love and possibly others, then debuting as a session leader in August with Dust My Broom, which was a surprise R&B hit in 1952. He broke his recording contract with Trumpet Records to sign up with the Bihari Brothers through their scout Ike Turner, who played guitar and piano on a couple of his early Bihari recordings. His I Believe was another hit a year later. During the 1950s he recorded for the Bihari Brothers' Flair Records, Meteor Records and Modern Records labels, as well as for Chess Records and Mel London's Chief Records. He played lead guitar on Joe Turner's 1954 Top 10 R&B hit TV Mama. His backing musicians were known as the Broom Dusters. In 1959, he began recording for Bobby Robinson's Fire Records label. These include The Sky Is Crying, My Bleeding Heart, Stranger Blues, Look on Yonder Wall, Done Somebody Wrong, and Shake Your Moneymaker. Death: James died of a heart attack in Chicago in 1963, as he was about to tour Europe with that year's American Folk Blues Festival. He was buried in the Newport Baptist Church Cemetery in Ebenezer, Mississippi. Sound: James played a wide variety of blues similar to that of Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf and some of B.B. King's work, but distinguished by his guitar's unique tone coming from a modified, hollow-body traditional acoustic guitar, which sounded like an amped-up version of the more modern solid-body guitars. Muddy Waters took the Belgian blues fan George Adins to see James play in Chicago in 1959, Adins recalled. Elmore will always remain the most exciting, dramatic blues singer and guitarist that I've ever had a chance to see perform in the flesh. On our way we listened to him on the radio as Big Bill Hill was broadcasting direct from that place. I was burning to see Elmore James, and before we even pushed open the door of the club, we could hear Elmore's violent guitar sound. Although the place was overcrowded, we managed to find a seat close to the bandstand and the blues came falling down on me as it had never done before. Watching Elmore sing and play, backed by a solid blues band, made me feel real fine. Wearing thick glasses, Elmore's face always had an expressive and dramatic look, especially when he was real gone on the slow blues. Singing with a strong and rough voice, he really didn't need a mic. On such slow blues as I'm Worried Make My Dreams Come True It Hurts Me, his voice reached a climax and created a tension that was unmistakably the down-and-out blues. Notwithstanding that raw voice, Elmore sang his blues with a particular feeling, an emotion and depth that showed his country background. His singing was fed, reinforced by his own guitar accompaniment, which was as rough, violent and expressive as was his voice. Using the bottleneck technique most of the time, Elmore really let his guitar sound as I had never heard a guitar sound before. You just couldn't sit still. You had to move." Adins also witnessed James at Alex Club in West Side Chicago where he always played for a dance audience and he made the people jump. Bobby's Rock was at that time one of the favorite numbers with the crowd and Elmore used to play it for 15 minutes and more. You just couldn't stand that hysteric sound coming down on you. The place was rocking, swinging. His best-known song is the blues standard Dust My Broom. The song gave its name to James' band, the Broom Dusters. The song's opening slide guitar riff is one of the best-known sounds in all of blues. It is essentially the same riff that appeared in the recording of the same song by Robert Johnson, but James played the riff with electric slide guitar. B.B. King used this riff to open his 1953 number one R&B hit Please Love Me. It was even transformed into a doo-wop chorus on Jesse Stone's Down in the Alley, recorded by the Clovers and Elvis Presley. Stone transcribed the riff as, "Changity changity 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 chang chang." It is also the opening riff to the Yardbirds' The Now's a Blue. Influence: many electric slide guitar players will admit to the influence of James' style. He was also a major influence on such successful blues guitarists as Homesick James, John Littlejohn, Hound Dog Taylor, J.B. Hutto and many others. He also influenced many rock guitarists such as the Rolling Stones' Brian Jones, Canned Heat's Alan Wilson and in particular Fleetwood Mac's Jeremy Spencer. John Mayall included Mr. James on his 1969 Looking Back album as a dedication to James. James' songs Done Somebody Wrong and One Way Out were often covered by the Allman Brothers Band, who were influenced by James. James was also covered by blues rock bands Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble many times in concert. The most famous of these covers is one that came by an indirect route. James' fellow bluesman Albert King recorded a cover of The Sky Is Crying, and Stevie Ray Vaughan copied King's version of the song. That song was also covered by George Thorogood on his second album, Move It On Over, and by Eric Clapton on his album There's One in Every Crowd. The most famous guitarist who admired James was Jimi Hendrix. Early in his career Hendrix styled himself variously as Morris James and subsequently as Jimmy James. This, according to former bandmate and recording partner Lonnie Youngblood, was a tribute to Elmore James. There is a photo of Hendrix in London wearing his iconic military jacket and holding Elmore James's UK LP The Best of Elmore James. He performed James' Bleeding Heart during the Experience's Royal Albert Hall concert in 1969, and also with the Band of Gypsys at their New Year's concerts at the Fillmore East in 1969-70 as well as recording two different versions of it in the studio. James is referenced in the Beatles' song For You Blue. While John Lennon evokes James' signature sound with a Har-Paragraph FNER 5140 Hawaiian Standard lap steel guitar, George Harrison says, "Elmore James got nothing on this, baby." Other artists influenced by Elmore James include Frank Zappa. Eric Burdon performed a song No More Elmore, and appears on the album Crawling King's Snake. Discography Selected singles Dust My Broom, I Believe, Standing at the Crossroads, Dust My Blues, It Hurts Me Too, The Sky Is Crying, I Can't Hold Out, Rollin' and Tumblin', Shake Your Moneymaker, Look on Yonder Wall, Bleeding Heart, One Way Out, Every Day I Have the Blues. Selected compilation albums Blues After Hours, Who's Muddy Shoes, Street Talkin', Elmore James a King of the Slide Guitar, Elmore James a The Classic Early Records 1951 a 1956, The Sky Is Crying, The History of Elmore James, The Golden Hits. References. External links, Illustrated Elmore James Discography at Music Brians, Elmore James Mount Zion Memorial Fund, 1980 Blues Foundation Hall of Fame inductee, Review of the Amazing Secret History of Elmore James.